Greetings and welcome to today's episode of Pivot on Purpose. My name is Dr. Monica Moody Moore, and I'm really excited about today's topic. It's near and dear to my heart, and it's about building your own personal leadership brand. Look, I'm always asked about how best to build a brand that's authentic, that sticks, and is actually aligned with who you are on the inside. Well, today I'll give you some strategic tips and insights about how to do it with authenticity and how to do it in a way that actually helps you realize your long term goals. A couple of things first. One is to set a definition. The American Marketing Association speaks about brands and actually gives us an idea that a brand is a good service, product, or some entity that is not only repeatable, reliable, and stable in its presentation, it adds value in a way that is actually spoken about and proven through the delivery of the good service or product. So, what that really means at the end of the day is whatever you say should actually have meaning in what people experience. Well, let's think about that personally. If you think about your own leadership brand, how do you see yourself? Now, how do you think others see you? When others speak about you when you're not in the room, what are some of the things that you think are top of mind? If you see yourself as reliable, independent, yet when you're not in the room, your coworkers say, I don't know if we can give the ball to Dr. Moore. She missed the deadline the last time. Well, that doesn't sound like someone that's reliable, independent, does it? A couple of thoughts to keep in mind. Whatever you say about yourself, people should actually be able to experience, and it should be demonstrated in what they see from you. So if I say I'm organized, yet I walk in disheveled and my work is not well seamed together, that doesn't seem like someone that has their act together and is organized. So again, look for subject verb agreement between what you say and what you do and how it aligns with the brand you're trying to put forward. Your brand should be repeatable. That means just like when you go to Starbucks, that same coffee that you've gotten at one location is pretty consistent with the coffee you get at the other location. So take that back to you personally. However, you present yourself, while we have dimensions and layers of ourselves, what we show at work may be different than what we do at the family reunion. Yet at the same time, there's still consistency. So as you think about your personal leadership brand, one, there should be subject verb agreement between what you say and what you do. There should also be consistency from day to day. If you ebb and flow in a way that people can no longer depend upon your brand, it's not a brand. Brands are consistent and reliable. So think about how you present and how you demonstrate your value add in what you do. You also want to have a 360 contemplation of yourself. It's not just what you perceive, but what about those that have engaged with you in community organizations or in earlier stages of your career? Would they see any resemblance to the person you say you are now? Now, this doesn't mean we can't change over time. We can't learn new skills. We can't develop different strategies about how we show up. Yet at the same time, there's a degree of consistency, reliability, and a pattern that's repeated. So as you think about your own leadership brand, start from your strengths, do your own 360 assessment first from the inside out. Contemplate what are the values that you hold dear, what are the traits you believe are strong, and then triangulate those beliefs, what others also see and say about you. Do you see any common denominators? Look for those common denominators, not only between how you perceive yourself, but how others also perceive and receive you. So there's a degree of 360 assessment that goes into this. So let's push back and try to do this work. One, we want to understand what is a brand. There's a degree of consistency. It actually has to add value, and brands are actually tested and vetted over time. If you just say on any given day, this is my personal leadership brand, and that's it, and that's all I have to say about that, and it's not tested or vetted over time, then I would say perhaps you don't have an actual brand yet. Brands are actually developed and tested and validated over time with consistent interaction and feedback loop. So as you do your own work, think about your own strengths, start from the inside out. What is it that you believe that you're strongest in, that you feel most committed to? Those are some of the features and attributes you want to put in your display window. If you're orderly and organized, if you're a good communicator, if you're a strategic thinker, if you have critical thinking skills, whatever those abilities are, why don't you write them down in a column that says, these are the things I believe most strongly about myself that are favorable and are represented in my own beliefs. Then do the 360 assessment, gently ask or even gather more formal feedback. You can do that in work settings. You can certainly do that with friends and family. You can do that in social organizations and just asking, how do you think I did in that last meeting that we had? Or what can I do to strengthen how I show up at work? Ask for that type of feedback so you can further refine your brand and have a brand that sticks. As you're putting all of your attributes together, your most favorable components, you're vetting and testing those with those in your 360 environment. And you're also seeing where you feel the most aligned. Let me slow down and smile gently at you as I say that. Where do you feel the most alignment? The beauty of brands that stick is that they really are authentic to who you are. Make believe brands do have a hard time with longevity. Why? Because you can pretend anything for a short amount of time, perhaps, but it's harder to do that over long periods of time. So, as you're thinking about a brand that sticks, think about your personal attributes that you believe are the most natural to who you are and where you feel the most centered in your own abilities. Those are the attributes that are going to keep coming back again and again. So, as you start to do this work, this is just a quickie to get you started with where to begin. You begin on the inside out. You definitely do a 360, and you make sure that what you're doing most is in complete alignment with what you feel is your own mission on the inside in your North Star. We'll come back for part 2 to take this to the more intermediate and advanced levels, but I need to get you started. So your homework from this assignment is to write down all of your attributes that you feel the most favorable about and that you believe represent the best parts of you. Then start to ask those within your circle of influence, those closest to you and family, those at work, or if you're in school, or if you're in other community engagements, start to test and get feedback from those that are most connected to you to see if, in fact, they believe the same. Ask some open-ended questions. How do you perceive me? What do you think are some of my greatest strengths? None of those are yes and no answers. You don't want to lead people to the answer you want them to come up with. You want them to tell you directly how they're perceiving you. And just like any 360, keep in mind the reason we do it is because we do have blind spots, spots that are not as obvious to us, but are truly obvious to others. So thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Pivot on Purpose, where we're committed to helping you achieve and realize your best version of yourself to exceed your own expectations for life. I'm Dr. Monica Moody Moore. This is the introductory segment of Building Your Personal Leadership Brand. Tune back in for the intermediate and the advanced segments so we can take this as far as we can go with building a leadership brand that sticks over the long haul. Thanks again for joining me. See you next time.